Hey, everybody, it is Brent Daniels. Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, the world, planet Earth's #1 podcast when it comes to wholesaling real estate. Thank you so much for listening. Our listeners are the absolute best. We hear from you guys all the time with positive feedback telling us that you are listening to these podcasts. You are taking some of these interviews that we have with amazing wholesalers from around the country, and you are most importantly taking action and implementing what you are hearing. Now today it is a rare opportunity that I get to interview somebody that is an active in the military, an active Air Force. What would that be? A serviceman? What are you called, Alfredo?
I guess an airman.
An airman. Yeah, I mean, this is what this is about. This is what wholesaling is about. This is the opportunity. He is actively in the military and he's building his wholesaling business while he is in the Air Force. This is just so incredible. I can't wait to share this and ask him questions and for him to share his story with everybody on this podcast, because I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people out there, especially if you are in military service, if you're a firefighter, if you're a police officer, if you're a teacher, if you've got a full-time job that takes a lot and it's difficult for you to always be on call with this wholesaling business. This is going to hit home with you. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Alfredo Elias.
There you go.
What
yeah, Elias. That works.
Elias. There it is. Okay, sorry. Elias. So, Alfredo, say hello to everybody and give them a little bit about you. Give them a little bit about your background.
Hey everyone. My name's Alfredo, like the sauce. I am active in the military. Been serving for about a little bit over 5 years. I'm an engineer, and I've been very passionate about real estate for the last 2 years.
That's awesome. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, baby.
And how old are you?
I am 27 years old now.
27, a young man at this. I love it. So from Puerto Rico, you get into the military service 5 years ago, right?
Yep,
What brought you into this beautiful world of real estate?
So to be very, very short story here, I was going to get out of the military after my first 4 years and just go take all my money and just go travel the world. I wasn't very comfortable with the idea of not creating, eventually the money was going to run out. So I started looking into passive methods of income, stumbled into real estate, explored different venues in real estate, and there was no doubt in my mind that wholesaling was the way to go as far as building capital goes, building capital very quickly.
Awesome. So did you read something? Did you have a mentor? Did you have an uncle? Did you have, somebody that you knew in the service that was doing it? Like what brought you to it? What was like the spark?
So I was an acquaintance with this guy that he had been doing real estate and he was doing very well for himself. He just kind of mentioned it to me on the side, just go read this Rich Dad Poor Dad book. I had read one book in my entire life. This is very embarrassing. One book in my whole life. I read this Rich Dad Poor Dad in like 2 days, and in the past 2 years, I've probably read about 60 to 70 books.
Love it.
On real estate and business. So that's kind of how it's gone. I've just became very passionate about it.
I love it. I know it was like the same thing. It's like after you read that book, for some people, you're just different. You can't look at jobs or working for somebody or being an employee anymore. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And obviously you've had your commitment to the service and you're still doing that and going with that, and you enjoy it and you love what you do. But on the flip side, you want to be building the assets. You want to be building big piles of cash to be able to support purchasing a lot of assets, which wholesaling is. Wholesaling is not real estate investing. Let's get it. I mean, that is a fact. Wholesaling is the bridge to get you to buy those assets. So that's awesome, man. So you start out, when did you start getting into the wholesaling business?
So I've been doing it very, very inconsistently for about a year. So I would send out one mailing batch and I was like, man, this doesn't work. Like I got like 2 responses. So fully started doing it in December of 2018, so about 4 months ago.
Awesome. And what is really fortunate is Alfredo is part of my TTP program, and some of the people in the program take advantage. Every Friday, I open up my office to the opportunity to come into town, spend the day with me, and really look at what's going on, sit down, make a plan. So it's been really, really incredible. But he came in on fire because he already had a couple deals going. He's got a pipeline going. It was phenomenal spending the time with you. He asked a lot of questions. He picked the brains of all of my people here in my office. And I think, what did you get out of that experience?
Just to see how I got way more out of it than I thought I would, right? I came into it just thinking I was going to get to see how the business works and see how maybe I can implement that in the future. I obviously got that. But I got way more from it, from picking the brains of your callers, for example. That was priceless.
Yep.
Obviously picking your brain and looking at it from a business perspective, because I had made certain assumptions about the business, and I had a certain path that I had in mind. And after talking to you in depth, that path changed, almost a 180 change in the path I was heading. And I honestly feel like that saved me thousands of dollars moving forward.
Well, let's talk about it. So Alfredo came into town, and he had he is he closed. Is it your first deal?
First and second deal,
okay,
kind of simultaneously.
Let's build some suspense here. It's a big deal. His first deal is like one of those deals that it's going to spoil him for the rest of his career. Okay, but he had plans for what to do with the funds, and his plans were to get a staff, to get a lot of things going, to try different marketing channels, to try to get other people involved in it. And I said, the advice that I gave was, whoa. You need to save. How much of the check did I tell you? Without saying how much you made, how much of the check did I say you need to put away for you?
I think you said about 50.
50,000, right? That's right. Yeah, exactly. And this will be all clear as we get going in this conversation. But I said put 50 away. Imagine that this is all you made on this deal. This is what you have to invest back into your business, because at this point, Alfredo didn't have. Here's the thing: when you want to hire on an acquisition manager, when you want to get a disposition manager, when you want to get a VA, when you want to grow the business, you need to have the leads in place coming into you on a regular basis, because you are financially responsible for all of them. They don't work for you, you work for them, and it's a totally different thing. So, as you get your first two big checks coming in, you want to guard that money so that you know that you're not just throwing it out there and hoping that it works, but that you're building up your business systems and getting it to the place where you've got your pipeline so full of leads that you can't possibly take care of any more of them. That's when you start bringing on people, because you are in the role of rainmaker. You're the rainmaker, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we pulled it back, we looked at it, and he will be there, but he's going to take a little bit longer to do that. He's going to get some more deals in that he's doing, and it's going to be he's going to save so much money. And the only reason I know this is because I've lost so much money doing this over and over and over for the last, I've been doing this for 15 years. So, I have some experience there, so I just want to avoid that. So, first of all, if you'll sit up just a little bit so we can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see he's wearing the beautiful TTP shirt. Yeah, the classic TTP. That's awesome. And if you guys want to see this, remember, like 70% of communication is physical. So if you want to see this interview, go to the Brent Daniels Real Estate Coach on YouTube. Check it out, subscribe, and got some great stuff on there. Poke around. You'll get some great value. But let's get back to Alfredo here. So when did you start making calls? And are you making the calls? Is somebody else making the calls? Let's break down your current business.
Yeah, so basically I was going through the program. As soon as I got to the part with the actual script, which I think is like the third or fourth module or something like that, I'm pretty sure I'm started that same day.
Awesome.
If it wasn't that same day, it was the next day. That evening after work, and dude, I'm telling you, the first hour I was on the phone, I got a deal. Like it paid off. It paid off on the first hour. It was crazy.
Yep. Yeah. So let's talk about it. What list were you calling? What did you start with?
So I was actually I was actually kind of doing my own thing before I joined this program.
Sure.
So I just so happen to have a foreclosure list in front of me. I know, some people don't think it's a very hot list. So I was like, well, I'll start out with the scrubs. I'll practice with the scrubs and then work my way to the better list. So I called the foreclosure list and I called this lady and I said, yeah, I mean, would you consider an offer on your property there? And she turned around and said, well, I can't because the bank is taking the house from me in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My jaw almost hit the ground. I was like, wait, I need you to understand, like, that this is why I'm here. This is why I'm reaching out. And yeah, we were able to help her avoid foreclosure. She had 2 kids, so we definitely helped them out. Moved out with some pocket in their cash. I did have to JV that deal with another rhino, which is why the profits weren't as high. My buyer's list was kind of weak at the time.
Sure.
But yeah, it worked out.
Awesome. So that was in your first hour of calling.
First hour of calling. Yeah.
Isn't it? Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, listen, guys, if you're listening to this and you think if you just call for 1 hour, you're going to make, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. It's not that often that happens, but it does happen. You know what is guaranteed? What's guaranteed is if you make no calls, you don't get those opportunities. You don't.
Right, shoot or shoot, baby. Shoot or shoot.
That's it. So yeah, that's it. So from there you started. Let's go to this. I think a question that maybe somebody's thinking is, how do you have the time and how do you schedule it so that you're making cold calls while you're an Air Force engineer?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I get out of work.
Like tell us the tough parts about this. I want this to not be like rose colored.
Sure, no. So I get home. Most days I get home about 5 o'clock. Let's call it 5 p.m. So I don't really want to call too late. So I think the latest I've called is till about 7 p.m. because it's dinner time and all that. And then in the weekends, as much as I love snowboarding, I love snowboarding, man. But I've cut out on a bunch of weekends to go up to the slopes. Just stay here and cold call people all day on a Saturday and a Sunday. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I am in the process of hiring a cold caller.
I love it. And that is, it's huge. You're going to work all day, you're coming back, and then you're making calls. It's an inspiration for anybody that's got a full-time job, or maybe they've got, maybe they're a stay-at-home parent, you know what I mean? And they've got opportunities here and there when the kids are at school or doing some activity or whatever else that they can squeak it in. But the fact is, it's not time management, it's priority management, right? Like you find those times because you make it a priority. Could you prioritize snowboarding? Absolutely. Could you prioritize not making the calls in the evening? Absolutely. There's probably days that you go through that. I get that. There's probably days that you go through that and you still push through and you get it going and you still you still stay committed to doing it. And that's incredible. You're such a great, I'm thinking of myself. I've been in real estate for so long. My day was always around real estate. I couldn't even imagine going to a job, doing that all day long, and then coming home and making calls. I probably wouldn't have done it. I'm just being like self-awareness here. I probably wouldn't have done it. You're incredible, dude.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I am planning on punching out once my commitment's up at the end of the year and fully dedicate to real estate or wholesaling. Yeah.
And now, can you imagine having a full day to do it?
Oh, I can't wait.
So why did you, because we had this discussion, why not send out mail or pay-per-click or do that? Why do cold calls? Why does that work for you?
Again, it's just the proactive way, mail can go either way, right? You can send out $5,000 of mail and not hear back at all. Does it work? Yes, it absolutely works. But I'd rather have it in my control and talk to people directly. And on top of that, I got a call one day from a mailer from a foreclosure, and the guy said, yeah, I called you. I don't know why I called you, but here's my stack of mail, and I haven't called any of these people back. So it's one of those things, like, if you're calling people, you're automatically way ahead of the competition, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And how would you even be able to answer? Can you get on your cell phone when you're working?
No, I can't. I can't have my cell phone at work. So
right.
I guess, challenging.
Yeah, so if somebody mailed you, and this is very common. I have some unbelievable students that are active in the military that they just can't. They love this business. They love the idea of making big, checks outside of what their responsibilities are with the military, but they can't have access to their phone for 40 hours, like during weekday hours. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, no,
impossible for them.
absolutely. I'm there.
And they're like so frustrated because they were, if they send out mail, they can't, and they get calls back, they can't answer them, and then they'll just call the next one, or if it's a paper. I mean, it's just a whole thing. I mean, I think it's definitely the best option. I think if you can't get access to your cell phone, because you get to have the conversations on your schedule. You get
Exactly.
to you're talking to these people. So yeah, it's phenomenal. So let's talk about this massive deal that you just did. Massive deal. So let's break it. Tell me about it. Come on.
All right. So I heard Tom Crow make a big fuss out of the tax delinquent list. So I finally, went the extra 5 steps to get it from my county. I did have some VAs do a lot of legwork to get that list. Ricky Tick, good to go. And yeah, once I had that, this was kind of an accident. So I sent out a postcard via the website, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I sent out a postcard, and then I'm sorry, reverse that. I hadn't sent the postcard yet. I to the people that were going to go to tax sale this year.
Yeah.
I sent out a yellow letter. I have this like format that I kind of created where it prints it out in in ink as if you're writing it. Same with the envelope. So I stuffed about 100 envelopes or something like that. And then I got to the module with the postcards and the Wholesaling Inc. one.
Yeah.
So I just sent out a bunch of postcards as well to that list and all the rest of the tax list. So it turns out she calls me. I don't pick up, right, because I can't really have my phone. I call her back, and she said that the reason why she called me was because she got multiple mailings in a row, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so yeah, here's the situation. Her mother and her son both lived in the property. She lives out of state.
Mm-hmm.
She does not talk to her mother or her son. They don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
They don't have a good relationship. So I basically explained to her that, hey, I'm going to put everything on a silver platter for you. I'm going to help. We're not going to kick them out in the street. I'm going to help them move. I'm going to help them find a place. I'm going to do all the coordination. You don't even have to talk to them.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to take care of everything. And she kind of gave me what her bottom was. I did a little bit of negotiation and negotiated a good price for it.
So what price did you negotiate?
Overall, it ended up being 318.
318,000.
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
and this is in Colorado Springs.
Yes, and it's a city called Monument. It's right next to Colorado Springs.
Okay, and with this property, you put it under contract. What'd you do to sell it? What'd you do to blast it out to get it to your buyers?
So I sent out the email, right? But I also I've been taking a lot of Wednesdays off to go to the auction to meet the big players, shake hands, rub some elbows. So I started handing out flyers in the auction for this property. I got yelled at because I didn't know I wasn't supposed to hand out flyers. So then I started passing them out outside of the auction.
Yeah.
And this guy with a big company, he called me. He said he was interested. I also blasted out an email. And yeah, that's kind of how I marketed it. And then we had our inspection. I set a 2-hour inspection. Again, took the day off to do that.
Yep. And how'd you do?
So listing price, I will add a caveat. I had to pay 14. The way I structured it, it was just weird. I paid $14,000 in liens.
Yep.
So whatever price I tell you, subtract 14. But yeah, so I listed it for $397, which would have been a home run. And I got 4 offers all over asking price. I think the winner came in at 410.
410. And what'd you lock it up at?
I locked it up at 318. Yeah.
And what did you net on it? Like, what was the check that you received for you to put into your personal bank account. How much was that check?
Yeah, so the check came out to, I'm going to add another caveat before I go into that. So I did pay out of pocket before we closed for the move, for the residents to move out.
Sure.
And that was about $9,000, but I did get a gross check of $78,000.
So you netted how much?
$69,000.
$69,000.
Yep.
Incredible. How'd it feel?
I feel pretty good, man. Like I've almost matched my salary for the whole year for the military. So it's crazy. It's insane.
It is insane. Tell me. So after that, so here's the biggest problem that people have, or biggest, not problem, but biggest challenge that they have is after they get a big check, then they take their foot off the gas a little bit and they chill a little bit and they don't start every day at zero and they don't go, you know what I mean? Like, What are you doing to prevent yourself from not getting complacent?
Yeah, so I just got a hold of probably 15,000 to 20,000 names, a list of names, a lot of which are pretty hot lists. And again, like I said, I'm in the process of hiring that caller. I should have him locked in this week.
Yep.
He should start making calls for me. And I've sent out a bunch of mail. And again, in my off time, I'm making calls. I'm still trying to have the throttle on full speed. So
awesome. And do you have any other deals in the pipeline? Anything else that you're closing? Anything going?
Yeah, so we do have another land deal. I am probably going to JV that because my buyers list, I don't think they're going to be in the market for that one. So I'm going to JV it with another Rhino again. I do have another one from TTP. It was going to be another big one. I think that's going to end up falling through. And that's pretty much all I have in the actual pipeline. There's a few hot leads here and there, but I'm not calling it deals yet.
Got it. Awesome, man. Well, it's just incredible. I mean, it's just taking action. It's not just I find it really strange. I find it really strange for everybody that doesn't do wholesaling. Like, you ever talk to like somebody that's like, friends that you knew from high school or people you went to college with or people in the military probably, and you start talking to them about wholesaling and their eyes just gloss over and you lost them, and you know what I mean? It's just a very special. That's why I think that the audience of this podcast is very special. The fact that they're even listening to us right now is incredible. Something in them has stirred that they say, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity. I can do this. This guy's in the military and he's still getting a $69,000 check. That's life-changing for people. You know what I mean? That's absolutely life-changing. I mean, and not only that, but it changes, I think, and maybe it's science, I don't know, but I really think it changes the synapses and the chemistry in your brain. You know what I mean? Once you see a $69,000 check for something that's just you, you don't have massive overhead. You don't have like 15 other people you got to pay out on this. You don't have a business partner that you have to give half of it to. That's your money.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Pretty awesome.
It is awesome. So give some advice to anybody that is active in the military right now, that is listening, that is considering wholesaling. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. Again, it just takes a little bit of sacrifice, especially on your days off, on your weekends, especially if you work weird shifts. That may even benefit you if you work night shifts or something like that. So it's definitely possible, very doable, and I definitely encourage you to do so, and I encourage you to reach out if you have any specific questions.
How do they get a hold of you?
I'm on the Facebook Wholesaling Inc. group, and I'm on the TTP group. So I think the Wholesaling Inc. one is a public group. So feel free to shoot me a message or send me a friend request or something. Spell
your last name for him.
It's ELIAS, Echo Lima India Alpha Sierra.
And that is Alfredo like the sauce.
I'm sorry. On Facebook, I'm actually Alfredo, and then my middle name is Paolo. It's Paolo. So that's how I'm on Facebook.
Got it. Reach out to him, guys. Send him a DM. First of all, thank you for your service. And thank you for being on this podcast. Really, really incredible. Just an inspiration. You're incredible. You look good in that TTP shirt. You're the man. Love spending time with you when you were in town. Everybody else out there listening, again, I encourage you to watch this this podcast interview on YouTube at Brent Daniels Real Estate Coach. Check that out. Also, if you are ready to join the most proactive group in real estate, just like Alfredo, then go to wholesalininc.com/TTP. I'd love to mentor you personally and have you up on the 19th floor in my office in downtown Phoenix and spend the day with you. It is incredible working with all these wonderful people around the country. So it is a true blessing. So other than that, Alfredo, thank you. You are the man. I encourage everybody to talk to people. Love you. Till next time. See ya.
Yeah, appreciate it. Have a good one.